And Jennifer, did you have a statement?
Yes, I understand that the city of Eugene has fined, or I don't know if it's penalized is the correct word, the Union Pacific for not dealing with the situation on their property. I'd like to find out what's going on with that and where we stand with it, because it's an ongoing thing, as we all know here in Whitaker. And I would like to have it addressed and tabled so I can get some information at the next general meeting.
So Jennifer, the section that the railroad was fined for was between Franklin and Agate. So down there along, basically from 5th Street to Agate, which is all along the university section. When I met with the assistant city manager last week, I asked her to start fining them for what's happening in the Whitaker. And I told the Union Pacific officer that I asked that the city should start fining for the lack of trash pickup.
And what was their reaction, please?
She said, it's a good idea.
Is that it? Can you follow up on it and make it more than?
I am. I'm actually meeting with the mayor, the city manager, and cleanup crews. I'm waiting to hear back from them. I've given them dates. I'm available. They're trying to coordinate, and we're also going to try and get the Union Pacific officer, because there's only one of them, down here at the same time. And the other news is that we might end up getting, Union Pacific is trying to hire a officer just for the Eugene to Oak Ridge tracks, because the scary part is that the Eugene tracks have the most unhoused people in the United States living on the tracks in Eugene. And I did share that with the city manager's office as well. And I will be sharing it again.
Thank you. And also,
I'm on it. Thank you.
add to that as the derailment that happened last October. It's more in my mind now than ever because of Norfolk and what happened in Ohio. And so I'm very, 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 very concerned about that. And I would like to have that addressed.
We've also had 2 people hit within the last 2 weeks, Jennifer.
Yep.
You also had what?
2 people were hit within 2 days last week.
Well, that's sad. But I think that if a derailment happens like it happened in East Palestine, that it would be extremely devastating. So it's on my mind, and I'm not dismissing the people that died on the tracks. I'd like that to be looked into.
They didn't die, just so you know.
Oh, that's good.
Dan, Travis actually had his hand up, and then you're after that.
Can you hear me?
Are you done, Jen?
Apparently so.
Thank you. Go ahead, Travis.
I just have a couple things to add about the Union Pacific situation. One thing I think that would be important to get out is that the community writing into Union Pacific's complaint line by droves would strengthen our voice. When you've only got a handful of people in our entire community doing that, Union Pacific can ignore the problem more effectively. I've reached out to the city attorney's office. They do not have any current litigation going against Union Pacific. Fines don't really work because, you know, you can put a lien on Union Pacific all you want, but they're the cowboys, so they don't have to pay. So effectively, you can work with Union Pacific, but you can't make them do anything. What the city is running into right now with the quiet area is they are in a disagreement about how much Union Pacific's in a disagreement with how much they're willing to pay to make that happen. So they're in talks and obviously making really slow headway. So that's my 2 cents. Everybody complains to Union Pacific, so it's all documented, and let the city know that you want, you know, relative peace on the tracks. It would help, but it takes people doing that.
Thank you, Travis. Dan?
Well, I had a point I was gonna make, which I forgot, but I just want to tag on to what Travis was saying regarding the quiet zone. I don't think the city is willing to entertain the idea that the quiet zone is never, ever going to happen, certainly not in the Whitaker section of Eugene. It may happen in the upper section of Eugene, towards Fifth Street Market, where all the big apartments are slated to go in up there and all the new development. But in Whitaker, as long as the city is confining the majority of the homeless population and transient community to Whitaker, there will always be people on the tracks. And when I hear the Union Pacific engineers blowing their horns at 2 a.m., the only reason they could be doing that is because there's people on the tracks, and they are required to do that. They can't not do it. And they can also unilaterally cancel the quiet zone, no matter how many millions of dollars the city spends on it. So my assessment is the city of Eugene cannot wrap their heads around the fact that they have an overwhelming homeless population they don't know what to do with, and they're clogging the tracks. Union Pacific is that they don't want to run over them, but the solution, I think you are correct. The solution is for the Union Pacific to come and police their own tracks. But then the question is, where are those people going to go? They're just going to go into the neighborhood.
Thank you, Dan. So just a couple of things. And we are, we're going to run out of time here before too long. One idea that I have, and I want to run it past the board, and actually I'm glad that we're talking about this, is that I think that we really need to utilize committees. I think that we can involve people in our community by creating committees, and we can put our board members' best use of their talents at committees. For instance, I'm going to nominate that Thea officially become the head of, she is our city liaison, but she officially has a committee that deals with the city parks and open space. And that at least once a month, if not every other month, she brings a report to us about what that is. And we can talk about what questions we need from her. Thea, would you accept that nomination? What?
I sense uncertainty.
Thea, you're muted.
Wait a minute.
You're in two spots.
Oh, I know. That's because my speaking is not working on my computer for some reason. I have
Great.
no
So,
audio on my computer.
so would you officially just run a committee that is parks open space and not the city liaison?
Yes, I'm willing to continue that work. I also posted a number in the chat for everyone. It is the Union Pacific phone number. It's like our EPT dispatch. But what happens is when they start getting calls from us, they call EPD dispatch and ask them to honor the no trespass that Union Pacific has with EPD. EPD will not roll along and no trespass someone anywhere on anyone's property. A call has to be made. So the 888-877-7267 is the number people can call in, and it's in the chat and then Union Pacific then calls Eugene Police Department to dispatch cahoots or police, depending upon the situation. Okay.
Great. So just to
But I will
finish,
accept what you said, Margaret. Yes, I would like to
fantastic.
continue.
And I would like to know if Travis Steve would be interested in serving on your committee as a just a citizen of the Whitaker.
Absolutely. I keep in contact with Thea when there's serious safety issues going on and hazardous materials and whatnot.
That's great. And just so that everyone knows, I have actually been talking to Julie Bowman since it's been 2 years. It was not, maybe it was last summer when they did the music in the park. but I have been working with her since, and she would go under that committee as well for parks, and she has lots of ideas. So Thea, you can prepare a little something to bring to the meetings and tell us what's happening.
I've also
that-
been working with Julie.
Yeah, I know that. Fantastic. All right, and Anand, you will continue to do the Health and Safety Committee. Fantastic. And you have people that are on that committee now?
You bet.
Okay. Is there anyone else that's interested in running a committee of something that they are passionate about?
I think we've had a justice. What do you mean, Claire? What was that called? That subcommittee?
I am looking up the exact wording right now because I think it's listed on the Whitaker Community Council site, but something about it just might be the Social Justice Committee.
Yeah, it's the kind of the umbrella for the work that we're doing on the history project, and
who is in charge of that?
there was no. Claire was a board member who was contributing, but basically it was really just an umbrella for the work that I was doing. We will actually be getting to work when David Lewis's draft report comes to us in a couple of months.
Well, fantastic. So Stephen, according to my interpretation of reading the our charter, is that you do not have to be a board member in order to be on a committee or to run a committee. So can we put that committee under your charge?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, great.
And I look forward to working with Claire on it. And I'm hoping I can lure Delinia into continuing interest in those topics.
Fantastic. Okay, and Jen, I'm sorry, Thea, did you say everything you needed to say? You were in the queue.
It was Social Justice Committee.
Okay, great. And Jennifer, did you have another question?
Yes, I'm going to go back to the Union Pacific. I personally, I couldn't care less about the quiet zone because that only means they're going to put up our taxes, and it's not going to work for our benefit here in the Whitaker. So that is something that's unimportant to me. But I am concerned, and I'd like it to be tabled, that I would like some follow-up on I have counted, because I live right across the street and I see the trains, and I've counted over 100 cars go by on many occasions, and also engines in between and things like that. And I'm very, very hypersensitive now because of what happened in Ohio, and I'm concerned about all this. And so I'd like feedback. I don't want this to go off the tracks here. I really want to hear that you're going to follow through on this issue. So please put that on the table. Please table.
She said she would follow through, and I trust that she will.
Okay, and I don't know how long it takes, but I really would like some pressure put on. That's my concern. And
Well,
I know
I can assure you with the railroad, it's not always quick to the draw, but
they are bigger than God, and that's what what can I say?
Jennifer, if you have some specific questions I can send to them, I'd love it. Okay, if you could email me, you've got my email too.
I think
But I am talking to them about about possible derailments and the speed with which trains go through our neck of the woods.
And I think I pretty much said it today, so I don't need to email you anymore. I think I said what I had to say. I just want to make sure it doesn't get lost. Thank you so kindly.
thank you. Claire, I think you were next. I'm just guessing here.
No, I'm gonna lower my hand. I don't want to. Yeah.
Okay, Gail?
Yes,
Gail,
thank you.
yeah.
I was having trouble with my mute. I just want to encourage everyone to remember that we're a neighborhood organization, and so our power in the world is limited to our neighborhood, which does include the railway. And so we have concerns, and I think everyone in the whole nation is worried about derailments now after what happened in Ohio. That was terrifying. But as was pointed out in the chat and by Thea, the thing that is the most helpful is for people to contact Union Pacific directly with their concerns. And although we as the neighborhood organization will continue through Thea and her efforts and other efforts to continue to mention that we care about this incredibly important danger that rolls right through our neighborhood. But we don't have a lot of influence in the world, much less on the Union Pacific. As you said, they're God. And so these are questions that are better taken to the city. The city council has a public comment period during every one of their meetings, and they have more power. They don't have as much power as the state, and so there's the state legislature, and they take these questions up as well, and they are a good place to go. They also have public time and public comment time during all of their meetings. And then of course there's also the Senate and the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., and they also can take these questions up on behalf of any single citizen. And so yeah, that's my feedback. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Dan?
Yeah, I remembered what I wanted to say earlier, and it was in response to Jennifer talking about the train derailments. I'm going to guess that Derek probably remembers this, and I know that Anand will remember it, and Brad will remember it. But about 10 years ago, we had a derailment right here in Eugene. It was right near Derek's business, and it was right near Whitaker School. It was right there on the tracks. And it was right there at the Van Buren Nexus right there. We had a train derail with LPG tanks. You know, this was liquefied natural gas. And they derailed right there, and they tumbled into the ditch right next to the intersection of Railroad Boulevard and Van Buren. It was extremely dangerous. If those things had exploded, it could have killed hundreds of people. It would have incinerated hundreds of people. We were really pissed off about it. So we took some action with Southern Pacific at that time and with the city, and there was a big discussion about what the F is going on here, because this was extremely, extremely dangerous and deadly. So we had the Eugene Fire Department come and give us a presentation at least once, if not twice, the WCC community. It was very concerned about what happened, why it happened, why those things didn't explode. And we learned a lot of safety stuff about how they're double walled, they're very thick, they're pressure regulated, blah, blah, blah. But the fire people at the city of Eugene were extremely keen on giving the WCC community a very thorough explanation of what that was all about. So there were some new protocols put in place, is my understanding at that time. So maybe we can bone up on what that was and how they changed their regs, because we haven't had a train derailment since in Eugene. They did take it very seriously. Kathy Feely knows a lot about this. If we can get in touch with her, Kathy, she knows. I think she's got all the details on that. So we might start by asking her, and it will inform us a lot more about what the situation really is about safety in the railroad.
Jen? And then
Yeah.
we're gonna move on to something else.
Yes, okay, back on this. I would wonder if it might be better if there was a letter written and that we all were concerned about this issue with the railroads. I would be better to put everyone's name and address and contact number. I would be glad to do something like that rather than to make these random calls when I don't have all the specific information. I think if we had a letter with anyone who wants to participate might be worth doing. And if you want me to count, tracks for a while, cars for a while, I'll be glad to do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? No?
I think we all understand what you're saying, Jan.
Well, so what does anyone else have to say about, rather than everyone calling that number that he has given us, that a letter is written and we all give our information about it?
Why does it have to be either or?
I suppose so. Thank you.
And you can bet that we'll talk about this some more. Doriandra. Are you with us?
Yes, I
Hi,
am. Hi,
how
still
are
here.
you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good, good. So for those of you that don't know, Doriandra has been working with the Nod and we have a grant. Actually, it was interesting. I saw somebody posted on the Whitaker page today that there's a grant from someone else where they can go and help get their rent paid. Well, for those of you that don't know, we also were working on a grant like that Doriandra is in charge of. So what I would like to know is, Doriandra, are you going to be ready to give us a report on that next Wednesday?
That would be lovely. Yes, I will.
All right, fantastic. We would, like to see that once a month. I just to bring up a couple of things. I'm like I said, I'm a little tired and I don't feel great, so I appreciate your guys's patience. So in talking to some board members that just started, that have worked one term, a lot of them told me that, they were a little out of sorts and weren't quite sure what direction to take. I'm going to ask, Gail, you have the continuity binders, is that correct?
Yes, I have those.
Okay, so what I think I would like to do next week in our meeting is we're just gonna do a little meet and greet. We're gonna approach our meetings much like a round table. We're gonna do a meet and greet. We're gonna go around, talk a little bit about ourselves. Everybody will have a minute or two, three, whatever we deem will be necessary to do that. That will include everyone, including the people that are not on the board. And then what I would like to do is we'll have the public comment. Then we'll get reports. We'll get a report from Thea. We'll get a report from Doriandra. We'll get a report from Anand, from whatever committees that there are. And then what I would like to do is by email, if we could make sure at the meantime, so I'm going to put my email in the chat. If you guys can all email me your emails, that would be great. So that way I don't have to ask Claire, our new secretary, to email the continuity binders to everyone. I don't want to change things up on her so fast. So I'm going to put my email in here. And then I will work it out with Gail. I'll either send the emails to Gail as long as no one minds, and Gail will send the continuity binder to, if you're an at-large member, if you're the treasurer. Oh, sorry about that. And then we're going to talk about what it means to be on the board and what it means to you, as well as what's expected of you. We'll go through the charter a little bit. Just a couple of things so that, and I don't know that everybody knows this, and I only know this because I sat on a hiring committee. They are hiring a new neighborhood liaison. Thea, what was his name? The guy who left? Robert, is that right?
Robert Brack.
Right. So Robert left, and right now there is no neighborhood liaison, but I sat on the hiring committee, which they ended up not doing, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, it came down, we had a meeting and they're getting ready to hire from within. Oh, geez. See, my brain's a little cloudy. But what I found out is that the city is creating a charter for every single neighborhood association. They're just creating one that everyone is going to use, and all they'll do is put their name in there. And that's basically what the city wants all of the neighborhood associations to do. And then at that point, especially since we're a 501(c), since we're a nonprofit, then we will make, oh, I can't remember what it's called.
Bylaws.
Right. Thank you, Gail. We will be in charge of creating our own bylaws. The nice thing about us creating our own bylaws is that we don't have to run those by the city. We simply just send those to our lawyer. We get them approved. We make sure that they work for the neighborhood association and for our 501(c) nonprofit. And then we vote on them, adopt them, and that's it. I do want to say thank you to Jen for all the work that she did on the charter. And I mean, I had no idea that this was even going on, that the city was creating one for everyone and wanted all the neighborhood associations to adopt it. We're just going to basically, like I said, put our name in. Thank you for putting my email out there, Gail. I appreciate that. As far as next week's meeting, does anyone have anything else that they would like to talk about?
I'd just like to remind people that before the 7 o'clock board meeting, we do have the 6 o'clock WCC Public Health and Safety Committee meeting, and everybody is invited to be on the Zoom meeting for that and participate. We get some important stuff done. You're welcome to come.
Can I chime in also?
Certainly.
Thank you. Because it's like 20 minutes of 9. I would like to know what is in the continuity binders. Are they completed? I have no idea.
Well, I will work on that with Gail, Jen.
Oh, wait, well, who's participated?
That
Well,
the continuity binders will go to the board members, is what will happen with that.
well, doesn't everyone have a right to know what's in the continuity binders?
Well, I'm sure that we can send you a copy if you would like.
Of course
I
would.
haven't, I don't have a copy yet either, but I trust Gail. And I know that Gail created them. They will be made a matter of public record. Like what Den asked, originally, will everything go into public record in our Google Drive? The answer is absolutely yes. Everyone on the board will be able to see it, and if you know, people will have access to that. So go ahead, Gail.
Yes, I just wanted to observe that we are no longer in public comment period. We're now having a board meeting, so this should be a board conversation. But as far as that goes, not everything that's in the continuity binders is appropriate for public consumptions. For example, in the executive binders, it includes information like the passwords to get into our things that are password protected. So as far as will the continuity binders be available for public consumption, certainly the majority of what's in them is public information. It involves things that the board 2 years ago voted to include, which are like, you know, agreeing that we'll be ethical and that we won't do conflict of interest votes and that we will recuse ourselves if we have a conflict of interest and that we will be transparent. And there's just lots of very cool stuff in there. Information about agents provocateur so that we can identify them and eliminate them, what our responsibilities are as board members and what each of the executive board members do. I'm talking off the top of my head because honestly, I haven't looked at it in a long time. It was supposed to have been printed and distributed so that you would physically get it when you become a board member, but somehow that last stage never actually happened. So that's something the new board can take up, and we can absolutely move forward with those binders. And I think the executive board may want to look at them and decide if they want to include everything that the old executive board wanted to include, or if they want to adjust them before you give them to the whole board. But Margaret, that's really your call. If you'd like to make this a whole board project, I think that's fine too. And I'm happy to turn over everything that I have, which is the whole binder as it was originally envisioned.
Well, yeah, let me ask Claire and Dan and Saoirse, are you okay with next week? Gail just sends the continuity binders to whoever they're applicable for?
Makes sense. doesn't it?
Keeping in mind that I don't have all of the information because some of it was only privy to the chair at the time. So there's some blank spots in there that say, put this here. But for the
Right,
most part, they're
and
finished.
that's, for me, the whole purpose of doing the continuity binder is, like I said, I talked to a couple people who said they have no idea what it means to be a board member. So I know I was on the committee that talked about creating those continuity binders and what to put in them. And what it will do is it will just give a little direction to people that haven't really had a lot. So that's what I'm looking to do. If you all think it would be better to wait till the meeting after, then we can do that. I mean, I'm open for suggestion here.
I don't think there's any reason to not to start the conversation next week. I'm not sure we can conclude it in one meeting because there's
Okay.
it's kind of been neglected for a bit. So it's going to need
Right.
a little love.
Well, we like I said, we need to, we need to give some direction just to start out. So is there anything else that anyone has to say? Yes, and we are going to discuss the arts instruction and the park program. And that we will do next week.
I have a question for you, Wanda.
Yes, Jen had her hand up. Jen, is your question about the continuity binders?
It's actually more about, that this is a general meeting. I just wanted to point that out. It's not a board meeting. It's a
Right, I know it's a general meeting.
Thank you.
What's up, Dan?
Regarding the continuity binders, this is a new thing. WCC never had them before. It is a good idea in order to not have to start over from scratch every time we have a new election and a new board who comes in. So that's great. But so to that point, I'm wondering if you feel that you're going to have any difficulty getting the records, continuity binders, the other documentation necessary, share business stuff, or you think you might have a problem getting that away from you?
No, I already had a conversation a little bit with Delinia. We're good. We're going to talk tomorrow, and she told me she's there for me and that she will be supportive and do whatever she needs to do to make sure the transition is easy. So, and like, I don't think she's with us anymore. I think she's on her way home, but it's let's just we're gonna move forward, keep it positive, and when we do disagree, we're gonna agree that that's okay, and we're gonna come to a resolution. All right, Thea.
Okay, I do want to, but I want to wait till the board meeting. I would like to bring up an idea about our meetings. Because I've shared this with several board members, but can we do that next week about our meeting schedules? Or do you guys want to
Yeah.
hear it right now?
No, you raised your hand.
Okay, so my wild ass idea is that we do not do two meetings a month. We're all volunteers. I would like to figure out a schedule where we have a general meeting one month and a board meeting the following month and a general meeting and a board meeting. We've got business owners on here. We've got people with family members that are sick. We've got people that are on multiple boards. And so could we talk about this next week and possibly vote on it to do?
Yeah, let's talk about that next week. I
That's
think
my wild idea. I will come with a possible schedule that might work because we are only committed by our current charter for 4 meetings a year, if I remember correctly.
I think it's
Great
3,
idea,
but
Great
Okay.
idea, Greg.
yeah, I
Four
think
meetings.
it's 3. Yeah, if you can put together a some kind of proposal or put something that will make sense, then I think that would be great, and we'll talk about it. Everybody, like I said, has an equal vote, and we'll see if that works.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Great meeting.
Right. Does anyone have anything else to say? Fantastic. I look forward to being caught up next week. I look forward to seeing what's happening with our housing grant. Stephen, did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just expressing appreciation for how the meeting went, and I was just going like silent.
Jazz hands.
These are laughing hands for the deaf. It's laughter for the deaf.
Well, I want you all to think about what you would like to accomplish and some things. I know that Thea and I have talked many times about doing a almost like a chamber of commerce that doesn't cost money within the Whitaker. And, I've spent the last 2 years, I probably know 90% of the businesses, or I've had a beer there. That was supposed to be funny. It's not, but.
Margaret,
I'm gonna guess between Thea and myself and Saoirse, especially now that we know all the businesses, and I would like to see us have a committee of what the businesses want and what works for them, and have them represented on the board as well. There's so many things, so think about what you would like to do. Some of you already have great direction, Anand, you have done great work on the health and safety. I worked with you all through COVID, and we accomplished incredible things there.
Yes.
And I would like to get back to that and hope that we haven't lost much ground as far as what we've done with the state and the federal government. One more thing. So who knows when is the election for the city council?
No idea.
In May.
It's coming up, right?
Right up in May.
Okay, and do we know how many people have, is there anyone running? There's 3? Okay, so Thea, can I ask for you to reach out to the 3 candidates, since government is your deal, and see if you can schedule them to come and speak at a council meeting?
Yeah, so it's May 16th, and I think the next general meeting would be before the election, so that they could share with the community.
That will be May 10th. That's correct.
So it gives people enough.
And unfortunately, a lot of people will already probably have voted by mail, but I still think it's important that we open that up, and that we dedicate a meeting to, having each of them speak, at least inviting them to come and speak to the community. That's correct. And we'll promote it, and we will try to get as many people out there as we can.
So do we need a motion, guys?
No.
Okay,
If you could
great.
just,
Then
if
I'll
that's,
just reach
that's
out to
under
him
your
tomorrow.
committee.
I'll reach out to him tomorrow. And I'll
And
have an
we
answer by the board
could,
meeting.
Depending on their, they could start right after public comment. I'm fine with that. And I'm okay if they all 3, when I first started going to meetings, we met up at the school, and, there was some guy running for city council that showed up at every meeting. So, I'm okay if they all come 3, if they all 3 come and talk at the same time.
I will reach out to them tomorrow. It's Barbie and Janet and Lindsay are the 3 candidates so far, and I will check with and see if there's any other candidates.
It looks like it's Barbie Walker, Janet Ayers, and Lindsay Leach.
Yep.
Thank you, Travis. Maybe Travis can help you with that, Thea.
Yep.
Okay, and we are gonna call, Jen, did you have one more comment before we go?
Yes, actually. Are you going to put this up on YouTube tonight?
Yes, I'm sure that, Anand, can you do that?
It may take a little bit longer with this transcribing application. It takes a little while for it to process it, but as soon as it's done, we will put it on YouTube. Yeah.
All right, and remember, we have 2. We stopped the recording
Right.
and then restarted it. So
Right.
I don't know what that means. I don't know if there'll be 2 different recordings, if it will just have a pause in the center.
We'll
I
find
don't know
out.
anything about that. Gail, do you?
It's a brave new world.
Fantastic.
That is
All
true.
right. Well, I'm excited to see what we can do, and I hope that you all are as well. And I feel like we have great things to come, and we'll get more done with less work.
Yes, Margaret.
Saoirse?
Margaret, I totally agree. I look forward to collaborating with you and everybody else.
Well, thank you, David, and you as well. I look forward to hearing what you have to say and what you want to contribute to the neighborhood. It's very important. Saoirse, did you have something to say?
No, I was just doing a little like cheers
Okay.
sign.
I love your earrings.
Thank you. They're from a vendor at the Whitaker Community Market.
Very cool.
Starts May 7th.
Excellent. Good to know.
All right.
Good
Fantastic.
night.
Thank you all. We'll
Bye.
see you all next week. And
Good
Anand, you have the
night.
recordings and everything.
I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Yep.
You guys have a great night. Bye.
Bye. And off they go. Da, 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 da. I'm just waiting for everybody to go before I end it.
All right. I'm gonna leave. Thank
That's
you.
fine. Bye, Margaret.